Hello and welcome to a brand new Five Heart podcast live on YouTube. I'm your host, Greg Mahochko. This devilishly, deceivingly handsome gentleman over here, our founder, our fearless leader. You know him, you love him, the one and only Jon Damn Johnston. Hello, Jon.
Yeah, it's late, Greg. What?
How are you, buddy?
I'm fair. It's been a rough headache day, so whatever. I have my look what I have. I have my essential oil hope.
Are you're not saving that for the football season?
Well, you can buy more. So
I mean,
America,
but then you'd have to
it's kind of like beer.
pay more
It's
for
like beer
essential
when
oils.
they run out. We have essential oils everywhere.
Is that a Minnesota thing or is that a Johnston household thing?
You know what? When you get the brain injury thing going and the headaches going, you try everything. Somebody says, sacrifice a cat on a full moon Tuesday, first Tuesday of the month every month. You're finding cats. That sounds terrible in this day and age, doesn't it? Okay, let's move on. Josh Hansen says, "Oh man, I can't wait any longer."
And he says there is no hope. Fuck everything. Go buy essential oils. Oh, good to be back. David Matney says good evening. I was not here last week. I apologize. I think it was you, Nate, and Patrick, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, those guys.
And I pulled a Jon and said, I'm sleepy, and bowed out. So I appreciate everybody's understanding and willingness to go along with the B squad. I can't say that with a straight face. But it is, Jon, it's a pleasure to be here and to visit with you again. Before we get going into all the great Husker and college football topics that we have, and we do. Thank you, Fred. Yes, it is me. We do have topics. God, you guys are brutal.
Yes,
they are.
Makes the rest of life easier.
And spoiler alert, I'm going to be gone one more show later this month. We'll get into that as we draw closer. Those of you who, if you're finding this on YouTube for the last couple of weeks, you're like, where the hell did the podcast go? Long story short, and I don't know how else to phrase it other than we were kicked off or politely asked to stop using one service, Megaphone, which we've been using for a couple of years now. So we're in the process of transitioning everything over to Podbean. It shouldn't affect, if you download on Apple iTunes or Google Play, shouldn't affect any of that. It's just I haven't uploaded any new episodes because the Vox Media SB Nation people kindly asked me not to. So eventually we will, start getting the podcast back out again in the audio form. In the meantime, we are downright tickled to be here with you in the video format on YouTube and wherever great videos are found, which is YouTube. So that didn't make any sense, so I apologize. Yeah, so Fred says, gone again, buying up used Northwestern purge masks. No. What I am doing is I was asked by my boss specifically to go on a, I guess, pretty special conference. So I'll be in Connecticut at the end of the month. I got there a little sooner, got to the explanation a little sooner than I was anticipating, but I'll be out of action and away from my home, leave my wife with the 3 kids for Thursday through Sunday. So pray for her. She'll need it more than me. Gonna save that one for later. I see Jon's already started. And Fred, back to the purge masks. I bet they ask you to stop because of some jerk making off color jokes about our former. No, you're fine. Josh says, I found another site with great videos, but only Jon's fans seemed to find it.
Oh, I don't know if that's maybe we'll get to that.
Jon, are you going to put your feet
Okay, you know what? Should I just tell it? I'll go ahead with this. Here's the
Okay.
thing. You were watching my college football history videos. I have moved those to another channel called Hardcore College Football History. And the reason for that is because, I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to put these in with the Nebraska things. And then, people that don't want to, they want to see history stuff, but they don't want to look at Nebraska stuff. And then there's the algorithm. And then I thought, I want to do videos about Notre Dame history and Minnesota history and Yale history and all that kind of stuff. So I actually the history videos are on another channel, and there are some new ones, and I have not announced anything. This is it. This is the announcement. Hardcore college football history. So write that down. Memorize it. Go subscribe and look at the videos and stuff like that. And
All you're doing, you're screwing with you're pulling viewers away from the Coronation channel.
now these will be Nebraska people. And the other ones will be, people that are history people that want to see hardcore. And yes, I'll be honest, I stole, I like Dan Carlin's hardcore history things. And I kind of looked at that and went, hardcore, that's what I want to do. There seems to be really not much college football history out there. There are things that they skim the surface of things, like Teddy Roosevelt saved football. Teddy Roosevelt had about as much to saving football as I did. Dion Pryor asks, is that on Pornhub? No, no.
It is hardcore.
It's close to Cornhub, though. Yeah.
Cornhub. Now that would be a good YouTube channel. Fred says, I'll follow Jon to the ends of the earth if it doesn't require much energy, time, or effort.
That's exactly what I want from people. Just buy some shirts, go out and by the way, this one will be up in red soon, the Man Killing Mastodon shirt.
Nice.
I have a design that I've redone that we'll be getting those out in red. And then I hope to have some really fun shirts before the season starts. Okay, let's go. There's a lot of stuff, man. The world's exploding out there.
Man. Where do you want to start?
I want to start with the world blowing up.
Okay, not the actual earth that we know to be flat blowing up.
Well,
but like the college football landscape, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're all safe in our bunker, safely attached to the Big Ten. And, Colorado's gone back to the Big 12. Right now, somewhere, there is a meeting of Arizona regents trying to decide if they're going to the Big 12. And then you got all these people, we're going to leave the SEC, the Florida State people. The only problem, what did I say?
SEC.
Well, shit. Maybe they went and they're going back and forth like your cat going in and out the door, the little door. Anyway, okay, which one should we start with? The death of the Pac-12?
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with the death of the Pac-12. And Jon says, hits a nail on the head. Glad we're not in said conference. Yeah.
So there's all sorts of rumors. There's rumors that Oregon and Washington are going to join the Big Ten. Oregon, Washington, Cal, and Stanford. I want nothing to do with Cal and Stanford. Fuck them. I don't see that they bring any, people go, well, they're great academic institutions. They bring that to the Big Ten. Yeah, who cares? They can be great academic institutions. The fuck out of the Big Ten.
Can I say, I say the same about Washington and Oregon. I don't think they bring anything. With Oregon, you bring Nike money, and that's it. You bring 87. No, I think it's like 387 different uniform combinations. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's all sizzle, no steak. And by God, I'm a corn and beef fed Midwestern man, and I want steak. I want it medium rare, maybe. I don't need a lot of sizzle. Damn it. No, I don't need Washington or Oregon. You want your steak to go.
I'm okay. Yeah, I do. I want somebody to stab it and it bleeds and goes moo. I don't eat a lot of steak. Anyway,
I know.
I want nothing to do with Cal and Stanford because they just tend to do all this screwy. We have requirements to go out of state and all this shit. I don't know. I just, I know they're great research institutions. That's wonderful, but they don't do anything for me. I don't think they do anything for the money either. And then let's face it, that's what this is about. And then you got the FSU, the Florida State fans that are like, we want to leave the SEC. Well, that's good, but you signed away your grant of rights. Did I say the SEC again? My God. ACC, whatever they want to leave. They want to leave the ACC, but they signed away their grant of rights to the ACC until 2036. I mean,
Foolish maneuver.
listen, the people, Jim Delaney looks like a complete, like here's Einstein way up here, and Jim Delaney's right below him. Kevin Warren just happened to fall into that.
Yeah, he fell ass backwards into it. Let's see. Trying to keep up with. All right, let's go. I'm hitting some of these comments, so I apologize. Husker Corner says, "My God!" And in 2011, I wanted Nebraska to go to the Pac-12. Glad they didn't listen to my ass. Crying face emoji.
Well,
sorry, Cornhusker.
I mean, you kind of feel bad for some of the Pac-12 schools, but let's be honest, they did this to themselves, and Larry Scott did it to him, and they allowed him to do it.
That CFB Reddit, that subreddit, I guess, college football, whatever. The Washington State fan who was basically. I mean, it wasn't a rant. It was like basically it was a crying in typing form, and I'm not crying. I'm not saying that like dismissively. It sucks. It would suck to have, that much passion for your team and for the school that like you're basically an orphan now. I mean, and you're going to end up in the Mountain West because the Pac-12 is going to fold, and nobody's going to care. He said something about like going from $35 million in revenue down to as low as $4 million in a blink of an eye or snap of a finger, whatever it is. I mean, that's a hard truth to take, and I don't know how much truth there is to that, but that's a hard pill to swallow.
Well, wasn't Bill Moose their athletic director before he was Nebraska's?
He was, and he helped
get
a lot of the things going that propelled them to a particular level. But
massive debt.
Well, Dion says we need some shithole teams so we can get some wins. No.
I don't mean to be rude to Dion, but right now that's what everybody looks at us for. You know what I mean? That's what's important about this 2023 season. Matt,
where we're going to turn it all around.
Yeah, turn it all around, kick some ass.
Fred says, I hate all this moving around, but at least the Big Ten's being proactive, potentially courting these weird teams, then letting them go somewhere, let them go elsewhere. I think, look, when you have, Arizona State, Utah kicking around the idea of going to the Big 12, like, I still contend that it makes no sense for UCLA and USC to be in the Big Ten. And let's see, who was it in the comments? Give me a minute here. I'll find it. Son of a gun. I can't find it.
Right.
Something about it makes as much sense. Oh, here we go. Josh says Washington's got as much right as Rutgers, Maryland, Northwestern. Reportedly a lot of fun in that stadium. Don't want to. Okay, apparently I misinterpreted that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
What's that?
Well, I contend geographically, like when they're trying to problem solve how to cluster teams, like volleyball and soccer. I'm making, I don't know, but to get, okay, well, let's get two teams, like a team from UCLA, a team from USC. Let's get them into, as an example, Illinois or Indiana would work just as well. if you have Indiana, Purdue, something like that, they can play a couple back-to-back games and then fly out, share a bus. I'm like, this is the dumbest idea. When you have to work that hard to figure out the logistics of a conference, college athletic contest, you've expanded past the point of being viable.
I think the pod thing is interesting, but I mean, the problem with the pod thing is when it comes to games, I mean, if you're going to stick these people on a pod, you're going to get undesirable games. And really what you did all this for money. And you did all this at the behest of TV people that said, we would like to make money, and we're going to make money not by playing Northwestern against Rutgers. We're going to play Nebraska, Ohio State. Even though Nebraska may get their ass kicked, people still watch the game. Nebraska, USC. But you get the idea. Ohio State, USC every year. Those are the games that they want on television. So you can't really pod that. And then, there are basketball fans. I know that Nebraska's, at the short end of the stick of that. But, the Big Ten is a basketball conference too. So when you're adding UCLA, you're adding a blue blood. I don't know my basketball history very well, but you're adding one of the biggest team names in basketball, men's basketball, and you don't want them. People don't want to watch them play Nebraska. They want to watch UCLA, Ohio State, or I don't know, somebody who's good. Indiana. There you go. Purdue.
Smiles per gallon, and I saw this elsewhere, but the Pangea Conference is coming. I guess I'd rather be on the inside than the outside.
That's why it's nice to be in the Big Ten. Anybody who thought we should go back to the Big 12, well, no. You need to be part of the big fun. That's what you need to be. And maybe they should change it to the Big Fun Conference.
Josh says geography is done until the Pangea Conference, here we go, takes over. The top 85 teams in the reality I'm trying to decipher this. Anyway, and we're back in the Big 8 division. Is what he's saying. That'd be, what did I just do? Oh my!
Sorry, I was looking at Twitter to see if there was announcements.
My screen just went haywire. We're back.
All right. Just like college football.
College football is back.
What's neat about it is the Big Ten actually came out and kind of told reporters from The Athletic that they didn't want to see they were killing the Pac-12. They didn't want to be the ones that were going out and grabbing Oregon and Washington and then killing the Pac-12. They didn't want to be responsible for that. And you're kind of you already killed the Pac-12 when you took their two best teams, you fucks. What the hell? That's the thing about the Big Ten. It's on brand. They all do this stuff about where we take care of our student athletes, and they harass them and haze them, assault them, rape them. There's the Big Ten for you. It's the greatest conference on earth. But thank God they're worth shitloads of money. Okay. What else you got, Greg?
That got dark in a hurry.
Oh, it's true. God, the most horrible scandals on the planet are in the Big Ten Conference. It's not even close.
Do you remember when the volleyball team didn't have breakfast?
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't.
It was a horrifying time on Twitter and nowhere else in the world. And it kind of echoes that thing when Dave Chappelle says Twitter is not a real place.
It's not a real place.
No.
All right, so we got that. Checking off some of these. All right, so MK says 5 pods of 4 in the new Big Ten. You have and Ohio State University, Michigan State, Michigan, Northwestern, Penn State, Maryland, Rutgers, Virginia, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, Notre Dame, Purdue, Illinois, Indiana, Clemson, Florida State, Miami, North Carolina, USC, UCLA, Washington, Oregon.
That's a hell of a list.
I initially started reading that, and I was like, is he? Oh, he's not putting these into pods. So, I mean, I think it's pretty clear to say that Nebraska's pod would be Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. You'd
I
have
hope
the 4
so.
teams out west as a pod. You'd
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
Maryland, Rutgers, Clemson, Florida State, or Maryland, Rutgers, North Carolina, Clemson. I think you'd have. What are you reading? New comments? Or are you trying to figure out?
No,
You're trying
this is like a big globby list to me.
It
I'm
is.
not going to try to make sense of that. FSU, Miami, North Carolina, and somebody else. Clemson, right there. There's your pot on the East.
What if we did Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Notre Dame?
Oh, that'd be, my God, that'd kill those people every year. That'd be great.
It'd be. I'd watch.
You know what it would be? Those would be the types of pod games that TV is going to put at the top tier all of the time.
Yeah.
And those are the types of games that people would want to go, yeah, we could play these all the time. Now, the thing about all this is with all these conferences, expansion stuff, realignment, is that Nebraska has 22 sports, for God's sakes.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
but that's still, I mean, like,
football
we don't have lacrosse, we don't have,
right.
Like,
we don't have hockey,
no lacrosse, obviously women's hockey and so 22 sports sounds like a lot, but compared to some of these other schools, Nebraska could add. I don't know what, I don't know where. I personally speaking, I don't know. I don't care enough about lacrosse, and I definitely wouldn't want to see like lacrosse lines on Memorial Stadium. That'd be bad. Go put that on the soccer field. Speaking of soccer, Fred's over here saying, I think they relegated Nebraska back to the Big 12 and brought in Ted Lasso's team.
You could be put in a timeout, Fred.
Oh. Oh, good stuff. That worked. Smiles per gallon says football is the only sport taken into consideration as far as realignment is concerned. I don't disagree. Football is the premier moneymaker.
Men's basketball for the Big 12. Why would you add Arizona? You're not going to add them for football. You're going to add them because they're a basketball powerhouse. You're going to add them because
you're going to add them because they went out of the Pac-12 like everybody else. You're going to add them for those storied rivalries of Arizona, Colorado. Cornhusker Corner, who I'm not going to attempt an impersonation or imitation of this time, says, why are we talking about French sports like lacrosse? This is America. Agreed.
See there, Josh Hansen, Big 12 wants UConn and Gonzaga to take over basketball. So basketball is a consideration for some of this stuff. For us, it's obviously not. Nobody's going to go, Nebraska basketball, they're kicking ass. Although they would look at, if you were looking at Nebraska across the board with that whole, we could put, minor sports on any channel we want, and Nebraska fans would eat it up like, so much pie. That's what I'm thinking of, pie. Pecan pie. Just rah.
Oh, here we go. Smiles per gallon says they want Arizona for access to the Southwest metro area's television market. Same reason Big Ten chose Maryland and Rutgers. Yeah, got to get into that Phoenix and Scottsdale.
I'll allow it.
Jeez. Wait, is it? Do you think Sam's related to Dave?
I think so.
Sam, we won't know for sure unless it's Sam Matney lives in Omaha. But Sam says Duke and North Carolina to the Big Ten. All right, I just want to point a few things out here as we go.
What are you going to point out?
Cornhusker Corner says, if we get pods, I want Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin in ours. We donkey those teams at full power. And then they go on to say, people forget what Nebraska was like at full power. I have a feeling Rule will show us what that looks like.
God, I hope so. It's getting closer.
Cornhusker Corner, you make me so happy. That came across weird. I apologize. But let's table the conference realignment talk, because again, it's all speculation at this point. It's fun. It's fun fodder. But fall camp, there has been an interesting week in this past week coming out of Lincoln. We learned at a press conference that Myles Farmer was suspended for little things that, come on back. He wasn't actually on the fall roster, or fall camp roster, if I remember correctly. Door was open. And then a day or two after that, we found out Myles Farmer's in the transfer portal. And you got to wonder, were these small infractions? Did somebody overreact to me? Like, I appreciate Myles Farmer's efforts here at Nebraska. And, I hope he figures out. It'd be great to have him back. We could use the depth and the I guess, veteran leadership in the secondary. I wonder what some of these minor infractions were. And I don't want, no, I don't need wild speculation in the comments. But I'm really curious because even Matt Rule says small stuff, we'll clean it up and be good to go.
Not showing up to meetings on time.
That's stuff that easily is rectified,
It isn't if you're just used to being a lazy ass, or you're used to being a guy that just gets away with stuff, and you think that because you're a starter, well, that I can get away with this, and they look at you and go, you know what? Every time a new coach comes in, every time somebody gets to be the guy. Okay, that's how it works. The coach looks at you and says, "These are the new rules. These are the new rules." Which, in the back of his mind, he's thinking, which one of you sons of bitches is going to be the guy that I have to prove to everybody else that I'm serious? And
make
apparently that's
of
Myles Farmer. Yeah, to say, these are the rules. You're going to follow them or you're not going to play for me.
Was it Rule or was it one of the assistants? And I'm not trying to cast aspersions at all, but I feel like one of the coaches came out in this past week, since that, I guess maybe fan day or something like that, and said, some of these guys, I don't know, came in a little undisciplined or a little lax or weren't taking it serious. And it almost sounded like they were throwing HCSF under the bus a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think that,
what?
Wow.
A third matinee.
Shows a matinee. How many matinees are there? Get some more.
This is amazing. That
Maybe
just
we'll
derailed the whole show.
With the matinees, 8 is enough or something.
I don't tell them that. You're going to give them ideas. They're going to take half of our audience. They're going to go head to head with the 5 Heart podcast. Welcome all the matinees and the Sackos and the Pryors and the Hansons and the Corners and the MKs. Welcome. Tell your friends.
Yeah. We do appreciate you guys being here. I guess I look at, Myles Farmer and I think, well, when Dylan Raiola did not choose Nebraska and he went to Georgia and Danny Kaelin came in, everybody's response to that was, well, we want a guy that wants to be here. Okay, well, Myles Farmer apparently made the choice that he didn't want to be here anymore. So, is it going to hurt depth? Yeah. There is the distinct possibility that he was finding himself maybe not a starter anymore. So, maybe he was being outplayed.
Sometimes, that's always a potential, right? And there are people who will find the easy way out and take the, take a little bit of, have a little disciplinary action levied against them and be like, see you later, rather than just saying, oh, I got beat out. And, I don't know. Fred's on point here. I'm fine with Rule penalizing minor infractions, set the precedent early, no fucking around, beats the alternative we've seen for years now.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Who was the last, would you have said that Pelini was the last hard line, this is the way it is, or did he not even have enough control of his own squad? You think so?
Well, put it this way, I know that Oh, let me think of these. I know that one time he came into the weight room and the weight room was a mess because there was tape on the floor and there was stuff all over the place. And he took the entire team and made them do log rolls on the football field. Have you ever done a log roll 100 yards long?
No.
I can't imagine. There was vomit everywhere because, people can't log roll for 100 yards and, people puke all over the place. And he just said, tough shit. You're never doing this again. I expect discipline. So I think Pelini was a fairly strict guy when it came to, don't be fucking around. Apparently he wasn't as strict when you call your own athletic director names, but everybody has their flaws,
Well, gingers don't have souls. I apologize.
Don't apologize. Come on. That's the one thing we're going to work out of you is never apologize.
See, this is what I'm talking about. I'm kind of in agreement with Fred here. Even Pelini wasn't. He was the player's coach after all the bluster. Then he loses his mind when his team fell apart. Like, I kind of buy that a little bit more. He had his players' backs, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but he also, I think, let them get away with it because that was, think about this. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we were saying our, Huskers who are no longer Huskers. But that's when the bike thefts took place. That's when Avery Moss was putting his wiener up on the glass. There was little to no discipline. I think the bike bandit, his name escapes me briefly.
Yeah.
Okay. He missed a few practices or something like that. Like, I don't think he missed any. I don't think he was suspended for any games. And Avery Moss, his career was done because you just can't go showing your wiener. You can't do it.
I don't know what the proper suspension is for bike stealing or putting your wanger on the glass.
Wanger on the glass, the Lions Club.
Okay.
Cornhusker Corner says Will Compton even said on his podcast that his biggest criticism of Bo was that he let his emotions take control of him and his team would crumble.
Oh, well, okay.
Yeah, Josh Banderas, a.k.a. the Bike Bandit. All right. Josh made this comment in regards to some of these things that Matt Rule kind of instituted here. Where was it? Fleeks. Fleeks was sent home for being overweight. Josh says, there goes my last Husker dream. I think Josh is saying Matt Rule might send him home too. You're not alone, Josh.
Nope. That's just odd.
You would think that getting him back into the program, into the weight room, things like that's the place to get him under control, wouldn't you?
Well, you'd think that I don't know what people do, but I would think that if you're going to be a football player and you're going to expect to play football, that you would kind of like keep yourself in football shape and not have to do it all at once and whatever, that somebody would expect. Listen, I know that the stuff in the summer is not, quote, mandatory, unquote, but, you're kind of still expected to like lift weights and train and do things like that, just because if that's what you're going to do, that's what the other guys are going to do. You need to keep up with them. And if you just show up like overweight, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
That's just bizarre.
We have a serious, I just thought about this. If we look out and we'll get to this, I want to bring this comment to our attention. Corby Kobus said this a little bit ago, only 28 more days of watching baseball, NASCAR, golf, and underwater basket weaving on TV. Thank the Lord. Nebraska's first game's 4 weeks from tonight.
Yes.
So
it is.
With Thursday nights being the designated 5 Heart podcast nights, what are we going to do, John?
We'll probably have to do Wednesday night.
Okay, there you go. Precedent's being set.
On volleyball day.
Sorry, volleyball team. You are, while we're a volleyball state, you're still second.
We can watch and comment. I don't know.
I don't have a TV over here, John.
Oh.
I can show you. It's a blank wall.
You have an iPad.
This little guy right here?
Do that.
Okay.
See that?
I will find
live
a spot.
Chat the game. MK. Well, MK, I hope to be at the game. Probably fighting Minnesota fans. Fighting Minnesota fans and my own children. Sam Matney, go live. Well, we'll see what happens at the.
You should try to get credentials.
No,
I know. I'm just kidding.
I don't. It's boring. Honestly, if you're not on the field, for me, if I'm not on the field of photographer, it's just boring as hell, and I don't like to do that. I have never enjoyed. You know what? It's time to go out and be amongst the people. Adam Carricker calls himself like the People's Show or whatever it is. Well, I want a part of the people's whatever the hell it is.
John.
What? I'm not putting my wanger on any glass. Just saying, anybody, just no suggestions for that. But, get out there, do some tailgating when I go to games and things like that. Are you going to, Cornhusker Corner asks, are you going to get to go on the field before the game? I'm not going to worry about that. I think it would be more fun and more interesting to actually do stuff with fans. So I know that we're going to be buying a bunch of tickets, and my kids are going to go, a couple of them, and they will give me a lot of shit if we lose or how we're doing. And it will be, it'll be fun. Fred Sacco says, smack them kids, John. You know what? I would, but they have a mother, and their mothers loves them dearly. And to be honest with you, one of the reasons their mother is a Nebraska gal. And I don't know if you know about Nebraska women, they can beat the shit out of 90% of the men on this planet.
I'm just saying this.
Yeah,
I've been in your home with some of your children and your wife and you, obviously. Like that, I had to clarify that. I don't think your wife loves him that much that she wouldn't smack him around.
I don't want to find out. She's pretty tough.
I'm telling you.
One of the things that I saw some guys get angry on Twitter about fall camp is that they're staying in Selleck. The team's staying in Selleck. The coaches are staying in Selleck. Matt Rule doesn't have a roommate. And then he said, nobody wants to room with me. And then he said, they have air conditioning. This doesn't really count. And there were some people I saw that got angry at that, they're going to be out in the heat and this terrible heat practicing. And I thought, do you really think that he's serious? Because I think if he was the head coach and he could turn the air conditioning off, he'd just do that. It's not a serious comment that he's like, it shouldn't have air conditioning. Unless it is, which would be kind of on the Scott Frost puking thing. But
let's go back to what you said earlier. Twitter's not real people.
It's not real.
And there, context, any type of sarcasm, things like that, they all get lost in the never-ending stream of bullshit that is Twitter, which is a great time for me to say, hey, don't forget, make sure that you follow the 5 Heart Podcast on Twitter at the number 5 Heart Podcast, because that's when I do a lot of my in-game live tweeting and reactions and things like that, as well as at Corn Nation for not just John's wild and ridiculous thoughts, but a lot of the Corn Nation people. And you can never really tell who's who. It's very much just a what is that mental disorder? I was going to say, what's that mental disorder? Multiple personality syndrome?
Mass hysteria.
Schizophrenia. Thank you.
Well, is it? No, that's multiple personality disorder, where you have multiple personalities. Isn't? I don't know. They just more of these things that come out with all the time. I mean, my God, I've had voices in my head my whole life. Nobody ever told me I had problems, except for a lot of people. Anyway,
Fred Sacco says that, I love that Patrick Duffy's leg keeps coming back out. Rule's roommate is his 5 o'clock shadow, a smock, and Patrick Duffy's leg, and that's all he needs. I gotta say this is great. Corby, thank you so much. Corby, John, this is you at the game. I'm doing the post-game reaction in the bathroom because that's where shit belongs. I wonder if we can top that one this year. All my friends here in Michigan love your reactions. You know what you have
I talked
to
Adam Terry. What?
I would say win
not
or
do one
lose.
from the bathroom.
No. Hear me out.
What?
Win or lose that Minnesota game, you need to go into one of the stadium stalls and do your show from there.
No. We'll do it out around people.
That takes away the whole fun.
Yeah, that is fun. That would be fun. We could start a crowd riot. We could start They have riots in Minneapolis. I've heard. I should
Too
stay away
soon.
from that. Yeah, too soon. I actually talked to Adam Carricker the other day, and I told him, I said, I don't want to do any bathroom videos this year because I don't want it to be that bad. I would like us to have happy post-game reaction videos, especially after Minnesota. I want it to be joyful. I want us to beat the shit out of them. I don't think we're going to beat the shit out of them, but I mean, if we just happen to beat them like 50-3, I'd be very happy.
I think win or lose. I don't know if I can actually advocate for that on YouTube. Like they might take our show down. I can't say. I'm afraid to say it honestly. But it had to do with like treating your rotten son like a piñata.
Oh, he's tough.
Yeah, I know, but
his mother would defend him. She's tough.
We can't do that. All right, so yeah, John. Sorry, you're John. Josh asks a good question. Where does a happy reaction video happen? We haven't had enough of them in the last few years.
I don't know. I really don't. Most of these things I've just done off the top of my head. Let's go over here and do this. Let's go to the bathroom and do that. I didn't plan those ahead of time. They just kind of happened. The going out and sitting underneath the tree for like the first one, Minnesota 2020, was I need to get out of the house so my family doesn't have to feel me being pissed off about these games. And hopefully we're a lot less pissed off about these games this year. Nobody has brought up that fact that the whole having roommates, wasn't that in Remember the Titans or something? Where they had different roommates?
They were at in Gettysburg, and Coach Herman Boone, Grant, they took some liberties. It's my understanding that the school was already integrated before Coach Boone got there in real life, but it's a Disney movie. It's, let's find the happiness and harmony. So they took the Caucasian players and they roomed them with a player of another color whom they had not, wouldn't, to learn more about one another. And a very young Ryan Gosling in the movie.
Oh, that's right. Yes. He was bad at defense.
But then he got called in because Petey didn't want to play. Petey was getting called out. He said, "Oh, go." Hey, moving on. All right.
What else you got?
Great question.
Iowa gambling.
You're right. It's not what I had, but you're right.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, hold on. Can we? I suck.
What?
Can we back up real quick?
Yes.
This is back in conference, in possible pods. I saw this, and I don't even know how well this is from. Again, it's not a tweet anymore. It's I don't know. I don't know how this is going to show up on the screen, but I saw this, came across it, wanted to share it. It is almost impossible to read. Never mind. We have in this mega conference, we have Miami, Florida State, Maryland, North Carolina, Penn State, and Rutgers in one group. We have USC, UCLA, Washington, Cal, Stanford, and what's that one, John? Can't be Creighton.
Nebraska.
No, under USC and UCLA. Oregon. Never mind.
Oregon,
okay, moving
Washington, Cal, Stanford.
It looked like a C for me. I have I'm not as rich as you. I have a smaller screen. Then we have Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Notre Dame, and Purdue. Then Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Illinois, Northwestern, and Indiana. What do you think about being in a pod with? I mean, obviously we're fine with Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, but Notre Dame, Purdue in this mega conference layout, John.
I would be okay. I'd be fine with playing Notre Dame every year.
Yeah,
I think that would be two storied teams that, we played them in the 20s and we beat them. Was one of the ways that Nebraska made their name nationally, because Notre Dame was going around beating people. And, I would love to play. I think we should play more Notre. Here's the problem I have with all this conference realignment stuff. The real problem I have, you're going to have 12 games of regular season games a year. You're going to have X amount of conference games. And the conferences now for the Big Ten and the SEC are going to be so nasty that none of the coaches are going to want to play actually real games outside of conference.
Right.
And that's what I see happening. And that's kind of the where this is going is all about money, but it's all about, okay, we're never going to play Notre Dame again because we have to play like Bowling Green for a non-conference schedule. And that's the part. That's the part of this that really sucks. The other thing is everybody keeps trying to make college football into the NFL. We need the big playoff. We need, conferences. We need like divisions, and they need to be like the AFC and the NFC or whatever they are now. And you know what I mean? And and it's just like there is an NFL. If you want to go watch somebody that plays a perfectly balanced schedule and a perfectly balanced playoff, there's a whole sport for that.
Yeah.
In fact, you could watch Division 1A, FCS, Division 2.
The Nebraska Notre Dame being in the same pod division where we're going, I liken it to a Reese's peanut butter cup. It's two great tastes that taste great together.
It's very good.
Thank you. All right, so Iowa and those dirty rotten, and not only are they dirty rotten gamblers, but it's bleeding over to Nebraska men's basketball.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
We got a guard from them, and he turns out he bet on shit tons of games. Like as in charges, you're getting charged criminally for this.
Yeah,
right?
And for not misinformation, but having to do with like hiding evidence or disrupting evidence, things like that.
Is that what it was?
There's a lot. The Iowa State quarterback and that very weak statement by his family attorney.
Yeah, I was looking for his photo. There was actually somebody put out like a short internet or a short phone video of him going back and forth with a girl, bantering with a girl in a bar. And he makes the statement that you shouldn't put this on the internet because it's illegal. That guy what an idiot. You're not going to do anything after this. You know what I mean? You don't get, there's like no future for you. That's a Sex Pistols song. But, and then in the video, the YouTube or the Instagram video, the internet video, I mean, the guy's forehead, he looked like some kind of, I don't know, comic book character with a forehead. I can't remember. There was a villain with a giant forehead, wasn't it?
I should know that.
Yeah.
That's sort of my specialty, but
it is.
I can't remember. It just depends
there it is.
On would you put in super villain big forehead?
No, I put in. I'll keep talking. I'll get to it.
I mean, there's Megamind. Are you talking about Megamind?
Yeah, maybe it was
movie?
Megamind. But if you see, okay, here it comes. We're uploading.
Oh God!
Look at that!
Oh, that okay.
Oh my God!
I just think that's a bad angle.
It's the camera angle, but he looks like giant forehead man. That's what I would name him as a villain. Giant forehead. But this is the guy, Iowa State's quarterback, that is never going to play Division I football again because he bet. And college athletes can't bet on sports. And the reason why is because some of them bet on their own teams. Didn't he bet on, there was an Iowa kicker that bet the under on Iowa.
Yes.
And then there's Iowa State guy who bets on his own team. I believe that's what he's in trouble for. But you can't bet. If you're a college football player, you can't bet on your own. You can't bet on anybody's teams because you might have friends at other schools that are playing and, do deals. And I get one moment of moral superiority.
Please.
Tom Osborne warned us about the evils of gambling, you bastards. And nobody listened. And now look what's happening to Iowa. And you can't pretend that it's not, and Nebraska by proxy, but you can't pretend that it's only Iowa doing this shit. It's only a matter of time before other athletes get caught up in this, and it's a mess.
What's that Iowa State quarterback's name? Decker.
Yeah, Dekker. Dekker.
We got to give a shout out to, make sure I get it right here. Here we go. Fred Sacco says the leader from the Incredible Hulk. And We have a picture of the leader.
That is
the hairline is on point.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it is. Wow. I didn't.
By the way,
go that
I'm
quick.
almost certain. I'm almost certain that this is the leader as painted by famed comic book artist Alex Ross. Just some photorealistic art. I highly recommend if you're into capes and cowls. Moving on. Yeah. Grass wants to play Colorado every year. I think Grass is smoking grass.
It fits.
Because
It's on brand.
it is. I definitely wouldn't want to play at Colorado every other year because Colorado fans are the worst. We all know that.
We would sell out their stadium.
Yeah.
And I guess we'd pay for Deion Sanders' salary.
Must be nice to have another school elevating your athletic program. Here's a hot take. Nope, that's not the hot take. Sorry, Fred. Sam Roberts Golf, hot take. It needs to be mandatory that we play a home and away series against either Colorado, Oklahoma, or Miami, or maybe some other former rival every season.
You know, I would hope since the TV people have so much control of this stuff, that they would kind of force this. That they would look at the conferences and say, you know what, we're paying you sons of bitches enough money. You better schedule one damn good out of conference game per year in the contract. So we can make more money on this, because I mean, they're paying a lot of money for this stuff, you know.
I'll go one step further, Sam Roberts Golf. And I'll say that I don't think this is going to sound bad. I don't think Kansas has had a continue, like you can say Kansas State, but when Missouri left the Big 12 and they lost the border war, I don't think Kansas has had a relative every year opponent. Not relative, relevant. Ugh,
That's true.
So, I mean, I think there are a lot of ways to keep some of the history. I don't think that anybody's ever, come up with a plan. Like, do I like beating McNeese State or, whomever? That was a well-timed. I apologize. I like the wins. I'm excited for the win against Northern Illinois this season because we sure as hell didn't get one last time we played them. But give me some relevant football. Like give me a non-conference game that's actually going to prepare for Michigan, a week or two away, that type of thing. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm wishy-washy, but I do. Sometimes in my heart, I want the dub. Sometimes I want a competitive football game. So,
you realize with these conferences, the way they're going, though, that this, again, I'm going to repeat this. I know I've said this before, but it's going to be more like the NFL. You're not going to go 9-3.
Yeah.
It's going to become a bunch of teams that are the haves and buying players. And it's going to become, I think, much more like the NFL, where teams get into the playoffs with like a 7-5 or 8-4 record, because that's how tough the games are, except for the SEC, because they'll just not do that.
I'll still say this. I think you're still going to have the haves and the have-nots, right? The have monies and the have players and the have-nots. So I still think you're going to see the 10-2s, 11-1s, maybe in the 12-0s. But I think what you're really going to start losing, honestly, is that middle ground. I think you're going to have less teams that are 6-6 or 7-5, and more with losing records. I just think we're really going to start to see a shift, and there's going to be less parity than there ever has been in college football, and that's what's going to suck.
One of the former SB Nation guys that was really good, there was a bunch of them: John Boyce, Stephen Godfrey. They put out content. Spencer Hall. It wasn't Spencer Hall, but it was one of them, and my thought just went right out of my head. My God. But they said that here's what they tweeted, because I do pay attention to Twitter. Or X, I guess it is. They said there are only 18 college football programs in the nation that their whole methodology is to win a national title. They recruit like they're going to win a national title. They spend money like they're going to win a national title. They expect to win a national title. I honestly looked at it and thought, well, Nebraska is one of those. We just hasn't done a very good job of hiring personnel. But, that's why we've also fired coaches at 9-3, I guess, because we do have that expectation. But when you look at it, there are, like Iowa. Does Iowa actually have the mindset to win a national title? No, they don't. Because if going 10-2 and winning a decent bowl game is good enough for them. And that's where they are. That's who they are. Minnesota, no. Wisconsin, that's interesting to think about this year. Paul Chryst getting fired because he didn't want to really do recruiting, and he was kind of not putting the effort in to be a championship program. But when you look at it, we always talk about the haves and have-nots, but there's also the haves with mentality of having a winning program. And I hope to God Nebraska is one of those, because I want to see another national title next year or something, just right away.
Yeah. All right. So one last bit of business here as we approach the 1 hour mark. And John, tell me, we got a lot of comments here, which is great.
Okay. Let's go through the comments.
Let me get to my one
okay.
thing. We'll get to the comments. Don't you worry.
Okay.
I came across this on Twitter. I think this is something that usually the Big Game Boomer would post, but I don't believe this is from his account this time. This is somebody's top 30 college football players of all time. Any guesses on number one, John?
Well, I think I saw it. Was it Bo Jackson?
Bo Jackson was number 19.
Herschel Walker.
Herschel Walker 1, Archie Griffin 2, Tommy Frazier number 3. And I was talking with a friend of the show, Josh, before, and I said, it's odd that he's number 3 and Eddie George won the Heisman that year. Eddie George isn't even listed on the top 30. But you do have 4 Huskers. You have Tommy Frazier at number 3. You have Dave Remington 22, Mike Rozier at 26, and Ndamukong Suh at 30. And I'll tell you this, not just as a Husker fan, but as a football fan, I am disappointed that Ndamukong Suh is below Colt McCoy when Ndamukong Suh single-handedly ripped the Heisman away from Colt McCoy.
Yeah, Suh should be above Charles Woodson too. And Randy Moss. There's a lot of influence in this list from the NFL years. Because Randy Moss in college, he wasn't because Randy Moss was a great football player in the NFL, and he was fun, but what impact he had in college was he got kicked out of teams. And I mean, he was great, but not number 23 on a list like that great.
I mean, but to play devil's advocate, Tommy Frazier didn't have an NFL career.
Right. Hey, John, what did John Elway do in college?
I don't know.
Yeah,
The hell John Elway do in the NFL? Who the hell's John Elway?
He won long-suffering Denver Bronco fans a Super Bowl.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think Suh's college career, he should be, I don't know, in the top 15.
Tim Tebow at number 9, that's a tough pill to swallow.
This also a very recent list, so
I gotta turn that off. It is making me sad.
Yeah.
All right. Make sure there's nothing in the live. All right. That's I'm gonna say Grass said, heard a snippet on 93.7. Matt Davison claimed we have a top 5 NIL collective. Is this accurate, John?
Well, he works for him. I mean, he's in charge of him. He's blowing his horn. Do we? I'd be shocked if we had one better than in the top 5. I can believe we're in the top 10. Top 5 is a little hard to believe. I mean, you look at the number of people that can contribute to, Ohio State keeps coming up, Michigan. The simple fact is this: Nebraska is a lowly populated state, And I realize Omaha has shit tons of millionaires per capita, but I don't know. I find it, it's hard to just look at Matt Davidson and saying, okay, whatever you're saying, do I believe this, or do I just kind of go, okay, man, you toot your horn and let's go ahead. I certainly hope it's true because, that's the coming thing is being nil and buying players and stuff like that. So I don't know, I guess if they got their shit, I mean, put it this way, we're probably more obsessed with this stuff than anybody else. So if people are contributing to the 1890 initiative, then, it's probably going well. That was a lot of words to not really answer a question definitively, wasn't it?
It's
what happens after 10 o'clock.
I was going to say, it's how our show lasts till after 10. All right, let's go through some of these. Brando's Sporting World or Sports World. We hope you're still here. Good evening, gentlemen. Just picking up sticks from the overnight storm we had in Hastings early Tuesday morning. We still excited about going undefeated this year? Go Big Red? Yes, we are. And I know this because I'm not the only one who said it. Down here we have Smiles Per Gallon says Huskers will win the college football playoff this year. This is the year.
Yes. Is that the guy? Is that the Husk guys? That's the Husk guys from Twitter.
On Smiles Per Gallon?
Yeah, is it? I mean,
I don't know.
They have T-shirts that say "This is the year." That's their phrase.
Pipeline jerky.
Yeah, one of those guys.
I'm just reminded I have to pay taxes. That was random, and I apologize. All right, let's skip that. Sorry, Josh. All right, Vince. We're going to save your comment for last. I'm very excited for it. But living in Omaha, David Matney. By the way, we're going to go back-to-back Matneys here. We're going to hear from Angela in just a moment. David says, I'm so excited about my premium parking spot at Memorial Stadium since I have a Corn Nation channel membership.
All right.
These are the perks, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay.
These are the things you may or may not know about. And Angela Matney says, bring back the fullback, John. Speaking to your heart right there.
Well, we have a fullback.
There you go.
I'm interested to see what our offense is going to look like, what we're going to do, how we're going to, we're going into this game in Minnesota and, can we use the fullback? Are we going to be using the fullback there? Or is the fullback just going to be in our hearts and dreams like always? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch.
This is a newer one, but
you know what they're going to stand. You know what they're going to do. You know what they're going to do at Minnesota.
What?
Fullback touchdown. Dive fake fullback touchdown. Yeah.
You know what they sure as hell better not do at Minnesota? A damn onside kick.
Lose. Oh, that. Okay.
Sam Roberts Golf says Nebraska N stands for nil. Very nice. And Fred says that my face is a meme now, and that he hopes that they don't do drug testing at my job. I mean, they don't. This is the face the good Lord gave me, and I've done okay with it. I have all my teeth.
You married way above your station. That's for damn
dude. You ain't kidding. And you, yeah. Boy, howdy. All right, let's see. Sam Roberts Golf says, I think Matt Rule will prove to be a kind version of Pelini with a better overall on-field performance. Which I kind of read that. I kind of read that as saying Matt Rule is going to be the opposite of Bo Pelini. I do think that better overall on-field performance is in the cards. I do. Good one from James. We're going to get to that momentarily. Husker Corner says Nebraska is the only team in the whole region that can legitimately win a title. To be honest, I'm not biased or anything.
Well, let's think about that. It's probably true. I mean, the mentality is there, right? The will is there. If Matt Davison, if Matt Davison is exaggerating even a little, that means we have a top 10 nil collective and nil program established. And that means that, that's what you need to be in to compete for that type of stuff. So who else would be in our region that would be, maybe a Notre Dame? Would you consider them in our region?
I mean,
Oklahoma, are they in our region?
I would say Oklahoma. I don't know about Notre Dame. I mean, to the north, you got Minnesota, I guess Wisconsin, Iowa, Iowa State, Missouri, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Colorado, maybe.
In our region.
I don't even know. I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily. I'm thinking like geographically. I'm not. I'm putting conference aside. I don't even know if necessarily I put Illinois in the region. Is that bad? That makes me sad because that means that I'm not in the region of my favorite football team.
They're in the region. Illinois is in the region.
Well, I mean, obviously, Nebraska gets there first before Illinois. Yeah, we don't disagree. Cornhusker Corner. Let's see. Make sure I'm unstarring these so we can move on. David Matney, living in Omaha. David Matney says, how many years will it be before we don't mention the onside kick in the Chatterverse?
Oh, God, none. It'll be forever. We'll always have Ireland. There goes that dream.
Yeah, it's really going to ruin my Ireland trip when I do step foot on the Emerald Isle and I weep. And my wife will say, it's beautiful, isn't it? I was like, fucking onside kick. It's going to be so sad. All right. Wade Farr with some history. American Indians played lacrosse before white people came here. John's next history search. And it's in all caps, so he means it.
It is, yeah. Lacrosse is outside my purview. I would have liked to play lacrosse. I mean, they get to run around, beat each other with sticks. The guys do, the girls don't. But, lacrosse wasn't a thing when I was young. Otherwise, beating each other with sticks was a thing when I was young, but not in a sport called lacrosse.
Cornhusker Corner says, we'll forget the onside kick. The second rule cashes in his Fleck Bucks trademark and beats Minnesota's ass. I wasn't here last week for the Fleck Bucks.
3 weeks. We're in. Hopefully, that's soon. Very soon.
Oh, yeah. Miles per gallon does correct. We said Native Americans. Miles per gallon says First Nations. So we do want to try to not offend it. We want to offend people. Don't get me wrong. We just don't want to offend the people that are going to come back and get us in trouble. So I think we're all on board with that. All right. James says, would you rather have Nebraska lose to Minnesota by a possession but hold up well on the line, or Nebraska win by a possession due to Minnesota turnovers despite losing up front?
James.
I'm going to take the W. I'll take the win. Because if we're getting turnovers, then the defense is ball hawking. And I'll take the W anytime. Win by 1 or win by 100, a dub's a dub. John?
Yeah, I'll take the W too. Yeah.
All right.
Here's the thing. I think that what we need to see against Minnesota is we need to see a structurally good offensive line. If the previous year, I said this before, I'll say it again. If somebody ran a twist or a stunt against our offensive line, their brains exploded. They didn't know what to do with it. Guys got to the quarterback without even being blocked because people just went out of position. They didn't know what to do with that. If we don't see that against Minnesota, it means that they've been coached. Because Minnesota's going to do that shit. So I don't necessarily expect us to have an offensive line that's all put together in the first game of the season, but I do expect them to be able to execute, their jobs. And before they weren't capable of executing their jobs. And I don't think that that's our offensive lineman's fault. That's the fault of the coaching staff. And not just the offensive line coach, because we can blame the Raiola dude for this, but we have another year to blame the Raiola dude if things don't work out. So, but you want to see a line that they can wall block well and they can move together well, and maybe some poles. That's what I want to see. I want to see Bryce Benhart smash some people on their backs. I want to see him come out around the corner on some kind of end play and just destroy Minnesota players until they weep on the field. PJ Fleck just cries. He's, my reign is over.
Living in Omaha, David Matney says, if we played teams close and did not have a coach, imagine how well we will do with a coach.
So that's a good point.
And
that's the hope.
And Grass agrees, says, nailed it. And thumbs up to David Matney, says, don't forget to give the stream a thumbs up. That's right, because that
David.
helps the ever-loving algorithm.
The algorithm.
There is a
controls
show on,
our lives.
There's a show. It's interesting you say that. There's a show on Peacock called Mrs. Davis.
Peacock. Okay.
I highly recommend it. It is all about the all-controlling, all-knowing algorithm. And a nun, stay with me, it's not like religious in nature, just like the main character is a nun, but don't let that turn you off of the show. But nun is like, I don't want to be connected to the algorithm. I want my own thoughts and my own, things. So check out Mrs. Davis on Peacock. What? James says, I'd rather take the loss with good line play. We can't live off turnovers for long. No, but you can't. You can't take a conference loss to start the season. We did that last year.
Yeah. Yeah, James.
Oh, James. All right. This one's been starred for an hour and 8 minutes. So Vince Watson, I hope you're still around. John, how far up the Kool-Aid scale have you climbed since it is now August?
Not very far yet.
John.
What? I'm still at 6-6.
John, seriously.
What?
It is August. If you're not to 9-3, okay. Can you even call yourself a fan?
Okay. I've been thinking about this. And I've been thinking that I have described this. I have done it. Maybe I'll do a short video about this just to make the emphasis. But here's what I want you to think about with regards to how you predict a season or what you expect out of a season. I want you to think about here. Let's say it's Christmas and you go down on Christmas morning and Santa Claus shows up and, oh my God, I'm really tired. I had this all in my head. What you want for Christmas. My brain is not putting this together properly. Okay, I'll take a cleansing breath. Okay, what you expect for Christmas is you want a brand new pickup truck, free of payments. You want it free. It doesn't matter if it's a Ford, whatever your favorite brand pickup truck is. And you get a autographed jersey of your favorite sports person. And now you're disappointed. You still got a really, really great gift, but you're disappointed. That is the same as when I'm saying go 6-6, because if you go, I want an autographed sports jersey by, I don't know, Wayne Gretzky comes to mind. I don't know why that is. Your favorite sports guy, and you get an autographed jersey or something you could put on your wall in your man cave or woman cave, whatever you have. And it's the opposite. You get the pickup. Aren't your expectations? You set your expectations low. They delivered high, and you find happiness. But when you set your expectations up here and they deliver low, you find bitterness and sadness. So which one are you going to do? You just set your expectations at 6-6. And if we go 8-4, you're like, all right, they exceeded my expectations. I get a pickup for whatever. Maybe you want a BMW 733. You know what I mean? Volkswagen Jetta TDI, they don't make those anymore. The diesel version that you can go 600 miles on a gallon of gas for. But you get the idea. You know this, Greg, you're in sales. What does that look?
Here's what I know. If you think you're beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you don't. If you think you'd like to win, but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you're lost. For out of the world we find, success begins with the fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or faster man, but sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can.
Oh my God! What do you have with you?
What do you mean? What do
Is
I
that
have
something
with
you
me, John?
is that something they made you memorize?
I
Or
heard
is this?
that.
Do you have a business book in front of you with the quotes for
I heard that
every
from the
occasion?
athletic director at my junior college freshman orientation about this time 23 years ago.
And you memorized it?
Yeah, I found it. It stuck with me.
Okay. It was really neat. It was.
Thank you. 15-0, John.
That doesn't have anything to do with expectations on Christmas morning.
No, but it has everything to do with the will to win.
Greg,
John.
I don't want to
You know what?
shatter
You know what
your
I
dreams.
expect Christmas
I don't
morning,
want to
John?
shatter. What do you expect?
As my children get older, I expect to sleep in past 6:15.
Yeah, good luck.
Anything past that,
Aren't
I'm
you
happy.
excited to see what Santa Claus brought you?
All right. Look, Christmas, birthday, there's only one thing I want. All right? And I don't want it from Santa, if you know what I mean. I'll take it with a bow or two. You can put them strategically. I don't care.
Okay.
All I'm saying is,
wait. Yes.
You know what I'm saying.
Okay. Listen, I don't mean to break your bubble or smash your hopes, but what we think is predictions doesn't affect how the football team actually plays.
What?
Yeah. Like if
So
I
what
think
you're
they're going to
saying
go
is-
9-3, it doesn't affect them.
Okay. But are you saying that it's bad to be hopeful and have them
No,
go
it's not bad to
15-0
be
winning the
hopeful.
national championship? Because I prefer to
you're
hope, John. All right. You're right now, your glass, it's not half full, it's not half empty, it's just half. And that's sad.
No, it's not sad.
I got
I'm
a full
setting
cup of
myself
hope,
up
man.
for happiness. I am
Okay.
setting myself up for happiness. This is
Look,
how you do it.
Who was Ed McMahon, right? Was Ed McMahon or was it to Casey Kasem? Keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars. That's all I'm doing, John. I just want to be a dreamer.
Okay.
Don't take it away from me.
Okay.
You can take one thing away from me.
You know what I will say? I will say that this show has to be the absolute pinnacle of being full of shit of all the Nebraska shows out there. People should go, hey, do you want to see a show that's more full of shit than anybody else? That's us. Woo! Anyway, there's some comments.
I'm fine with that.
James Marshall says, John, would you survive an onside kick to open the season? If it's successful against Minnesota, I would, oh my God. Minnesota fans would probably beat the shit out of me with the joy that I would express in their stadium. And that's going to be the danger of being in the Minnesota crowd. When I did the famous 2020 video and got in trouble on the field for saying that stuff, my family was in the stadium watching that game. And apparently my oldest son was rather intoxicated, and the Minnesota fans were having a time with my family. They were having a time with my family. That's what they were doing. So if it's successful, there's this. Wait.
I love this. We both hit at the same time. Husker Corner says it's like watching realism and optimism argue in real time. I love it.
Wait, Vince says, sounds like John is still on lemonade. Throw that shit away and start guzzling the good stuff. I will work on it. I will work on it.
I'm so excited. So, again, as we look at go ahead, John. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt your show.
I mean, you're excited about.
Because we're 4 weeks away from Nebraska football.
Yeah.
And just to recap, I won't be here in 3 weeks, but I will be here in 4 weeks. So.
Well, I'm going to go fishing from August 12th to 19th in northern Minnesota.
Let me check on that.
There probably won't be very good internet.
We'll find a way to deal. You know, we've gone without Jon before. It's not fun, but we
Yeah.
Here we go. Smiles per gallon. Smiles, please come back. No way this team doesn't win 11 games. Anytime short of qualifying and challenging for the CFP will be a failure of Matt Rule, and we'll need to consider a new head. I agree with the first part. Like the first sentence, I'm on board. But Matt Rule's going to, we're giving him plenty of time. Lots of runway. Wait. No grass. No grass. 11 Reese fired, no exception. We gotta go.
Oh.
I think we're riling up the base too much.
Well, we are, and we have still, this is like the last mile before you get home. You have to be careful. You have to be careful.
No. I feel like
Jesus Christ. Cornhusker Corner says fire Rule. We're just gonna skip over everything else and go straight to fire Rule. All right.
But he's won the offseason, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Yes. Let's go to the SEC.
It's only gonna get worse in the next 3-4 weeks. Y'all know that, right?
By the way, on Monday night's show, I declared August 21st as Bash Iowa night.
I mean, I didn't know we needed to declare it. I just figured we'd do it.
Yes, we do
all the time. Okay.
No, it is a special show where everybody has to bring their Bash Iowa jokes. They can bash Texas and Oklahoma and Wisconsin and whoever else they want to.
Okay.
But, it's
so
special.
It's not Bash Iowa.
It's going to be titled Bash Iowa. It's like a get ready for the season kind of.
Why aren't you saving that for the 28th?
Because we can be pumped up for more than a week or more than a day.
Well, I've been pumped.
Plus on August 21st, Greg, I turn 8 years old.
That's right.
Yeah, it's my eighth birthday. So when people tell me to act my age now, I can say I am 8 and 61 together all at the same time. I'm growing up before your very eyes. James Boardman says, "I'll bash Texas. Give me a second. Save it till the 21st. Unless you got more bashing to do." Oh my God!
That's right. And if you want to know more about Jon's 8th birthday, I encourage you to head over to Amazon and get "Been Dead, Never Been to Europe," a Jon Johnston written book about his heart attack and the issues. It's a really great prose. You'll enjoy. Hey, look, if you like this show, and you do, because God love you, you've been here almost an hour and a half. You'll love the book, and it's reasonably priced, and all proceeds after Amazon gets their cut go to Jon. And then you can get his other book, Manage Your Damage.
Well, I hope.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
Well, it's for heart attack survivors, so I hope that I hope nobody has to buy it. That's the key.
Oh, so this one's for anybody?
That one's for anybody. The other one is specifically for heart attack survivors, because here's the advocacy part of the program. When people get a cancer diagnosis in their lives, they know that the emotional fallout of that is very heavy. Everybody understands that. But when people have heart attacks, they don't. Nobody talks about this, how much emotional fallout there is from having a heart attack and going through that process. So I did write another book. I actually wrote a third book. It's called The Mystery of the Dent in My Head, and it's available at my author website to sign up for my mailing list. And it is about all the head injuries I've had in my life and the fact that there's a dent in my head. That's something you don't hear from the rest of the Nebraska media people either. None of them, I believe.
I do have a follow-up question.
What?
Are you going to write another book after you go to Europe?
Well, I would like to write more books. Yes, we'll see what happens. Right now, I'm focusing on telling stories on YouTube. So, college football hardcore history. What the hell was that? Hardcore college football history. Go take a look at that channel on whatever YouTube. That's it. It's getting late.
Yeah. you can also find it on Cornhub because it's hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. That's it for our show, everybody.
Is it?
You all are,
right.
I mean, we've been here long enough. These poor people, they want to go do things too. We appreciate you all. As I say almost every week, especially when I'm here, we know you have a lot of choices for entertainment, and we certainly do appreciate you spending your evening with us. It's free, and unless you're living in Omaha, David Matinee, but you get that parking pass, which is excellent. Otherwise, completely free most of the time. So thank you for joining us, Jon. It's always a pleasure to see you, my friend. And we'll get together again next week, and we'll just ramp up a little bit more that level of excitement. You can't go more than 15-0.
Excitement.
Jon, here's Jon's level of excitement. Jon's at the Bob Ross level of excitement. We need to get him from here to here by next week.
Oh, is that it? Is that it?
No, I mean, there's only so much that the camera can see, Jon. Like, I could be from here to here, but, God, here. You know what? Good night, Jon.
What? Good night.
For everybody here at Corn Nation, this is the 5 Heart Podcast. I'm Greg Mahochko. That's Jon Johnston. We remind each and every week that 5 Heart is all the heart you need. Jon?
Go Big Red.
That seemed oddly nationalist specific. Do you want to take that back?
Must kill moose and squirrel. Go Big Red.
In communist Russia, does Big Red go?
Okay. Go Big Red. Go Big Red.